Just had a lesson on AI. I'd like to invite Mr. Sabin, PhD, founder and CEO of OpenScience. Please. Alô? Alô? Ah, alô? Controlezinho tem aqui? Pra passar a slide. Alô, alô? Bom, pessoal, boa tarde. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm here to give you a little bit of a scientist perspective. I started working with AI in 2002. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the practice is like in that area. I'll start with a reflection. Think about a grain of coffee. It has a lot of chemical information. It brings the whole history of that grain, such as climate impact, the type of farming, type of soil, the qualification of that grain, possible diseases for that crop. It goes as far as the roasting, chemical composition. After all, there are millions of molecules there. We can access that information as long as we use the correct techniques and we use AI. There are other tools available as well. I want to start talking about the work that started during my work in the tobacco industry. I come from Rio Grande do Sul, southernmost state of Brazil. It's a tobacco-heavy state. I started early on in tobacco, and I showed all the possibilities that technology brought to the industry. And we started suggesting new blends of tobacco, pardon me. Things happen at their own pace. That was fortunately able to share that with the board. And I got a lot of attention. Unfortunately, that was the right time. After that experience, I had another opportunity. I started at work in 2013. I had already a master's and a PhD in this area. And a number of changes had taken place in the industry, such as monitoring tools to improve the genetics, new agricultural practices to preserve this or that tobacco profile, ways to help increase the consistency of crops, and to find new ways to be able to predict what a crop would be like and avoid unwanted results. We're using images for monitoring. We changed the time of studies that used to take 7 or 8 hours, and now we could do this within seconds. Intelligence of the competition to understand what they had added to their cigarettes. After all, there are hundreds of variables that have an impact to the chemistry of the smoke. Simulators Simulators that use like millions of data with like hundreds of thousands of molecules. They can be used to simulate products, allowing us to answer the question, what am I looking for? How do I do that? How much that's going to cost? This is a change from what we used to do before. Yeah, a process that used to take years. Today we can offer 2 options within 5 minutes. After that, blenders and the analysis team are able to test the product. And then since sensor testing machines, and that now we can take into account customer preference and design new profiles. We can take genetics, the way the product is accepted by the consumer, and so on. Now let's look at 2017. I'd come from the country part. I'd come from far from the capital city. I have a chemistry degree, and I had an opportunity. There are over 1,200 scientists, technologists that all worked in that company, and I was awarded the Best Scientist Award. I'm not being vain when I say this. It's the very opposite. I had an opportunity in a small town in Rio Grande do Sul, something that wasn't available anywhere else in Brazil, even in the biggest universities. This allowed me time to develop other tools. I'm a guest professor at Unicamp, the University of Campinas. Today I'm a consultant for the Inter-American Institute of Cooperation for Agriculture, as well as MAPA. I have my own company. I've had this company for 5 years now, who, amongst other things, we develop products and systems. So analytical intelligence, we use that to found OpenSciences. Our goal is clear. Was to deliver the big technologies that up until then only big companies such as BAT were able to deliver. So we offer scientific consultancies, we develop hardware, including some very sophisticated equipment, multi and hyperspectral. We have some much more reasonable times. These are equipment that go by the hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And who do we offer that to? Well, for anyone that has the innovative spirit, anyone that truly desires to use a tool that will bring benefits. Might it be a trader, a producer, a large cooperative. Our main goal is to democratize access. That's exactly what I was looking for when I left BAT. It was exactly to offer these tools to other sectors. Let's talk about projects a little bit more. We see in 3 different light waves: green, blue, and red. Spectral images are images that have dozens of different wavelengths. So between ultraviolet and infrared, there are many other lengths. And seeing in that wavelength allows us to see many characteristics that we can't see with the naked eye, such as neurotoxins and so on. So there is a plethora of information that we're able to see that way. We have been using the system for 4 crops already. Cochupé is a partner that we first started working with. We've been working with them for 4 crops in a row now. So our machines can make a very complex read within a couple of seconds. And we're able to issue a profile, a very sophisticated profile, in a very short amount of time. Here are a number of different coffees that were analyzed. Analyze the type of grain, humidity, what kind of cup profile this beverage would have, among 30 other characteristics, including defects and so on. These are the kind of information that we're able to extract. An interesting thing to think about would be how can I use this type of technology and have so much information in such little time instead of having like 2,500 samples? Or think about collecting 2,500 samples a day, which is very difficult. This is how it works. So you see here the red point and the orange point. These are two different spectra. A PAU profile has a lot of information. So our tool is able to provide a very detailed numbers and data on the coffee profile. We developed another system called Imogen. It has 49 wavelengths, so fewer wavelengths, but it has all the characteristics for classifications. We have our own softwares. There is a whole chapter in the book that we show how this was done and show all the results. Now let's think about pesticides. Thank you. We developed a new tool. So instead of spending millions to buy new equipment, you can do a test. It's very similar to the COVID test. So through that test, you're able to analyze one compound. You can choose the most critical ones. I don't know, 10, 15, and it's very reasonable in terms of costs. Now wrapping up, we have a multispectral microscope. We presented this at the UN headquarters. This technology is able to identify and codify foreign materials within roasted and ground coffee. It's very hard for an individual to do that, but the multispectral system allows us to do that. And the last application I'd like to share with you is the smart roaster. It has over 35 sensors. It has a spectral analysis and a number of other sensors. Yeah, it's just like a person, but it has more sensors, so we can see in greater depth. All of this is done in real time and collect the information by fractions of a second, and it can change the roast according to the desire of the consumer. In the case of industrial roast, you can, let's say, take out the brain that's in that piece of equipment, and you can tell it to think about this industrial level roasting. That was it. I'm sorry, I apologize for going over time. I have one last thought to share with you. Think about bringing together AI and chemistry. It's a very powerful tool we're talking about. I've been watching that evolution for the last 24 years. And now everything has become much more popular, all doors and all possibilities are available. But we need governance, we need cooperation. Walter was talking about the human element. And that's what we need, so the work can be done seriously, and it's not thought of as simply a fad. This is something that demands a lot of study. In this case, you need to understand chemistry and analytics and so on. Basically, that's the message I wanted to share with you. Keep an open mind for new technologies and innovations. That's it. Thank you.
Agradecemos Guilherme pelas informações.
Thank you for the information, and I'd like to invite you for a little network break to see the booths, and we'll come back at 4:15. Thank you.